of objectivity in the Ugandan media. You people thought the Mbarara DP Delegates Conference was violent. Not so. You went on and on and on and on and on every day how violent it was. So now what are you saying? You have now seen real violence. How many dead bodies so far? There are too many even to count. But the 5-minute scuffle in Mbarara in the DP Delegates Conference occupied all the time in the newsrooms of Uganda.
But again, Norbert Mao and your DP right now, there's no difference between the DP and NRM. NRM is violent, DP is violent. Everyone saw it. It was a violent delegates conference. Abantu bangi bakubwa bamenyebwa. Wabula chemwabulako ku bantu waliwe yafa. Nera just kale bwerebwe okubantu wali yafa. Kati ebitwabye mu NRM olwaliro nga bekuba ebyo bimwera byali mu delegates conference ya DP. Ne mu NRM bye bimu mukwana muri ba Uganda tewali kikibawula. Muri mu government yem.
It's really a shame. 5-minute scuffle in a tent in Mbarara. Chaos in Mbarara. Chaotic DP Delegates Conference. But for NRM, you have not used the same words. You are just massaging them. Have they bribed you?
But you are among them. You are an NRM member. DP in the end. NRM, you are NRM minister, NRM member, DP in the end. And General Museveni is an NRM DP in the end. You are brothers of the same feather.
But it is a shame. I've not seen on your screen saying chaotic. I've not seen you talking about murder. I've not seen you talking about open bribery. I've not seen you talking about kindergarten kids being counted. So what's your role? Why don't you just go home and let us sort ourselves without the media?
But again, Norbert Mao, what is your role as Ipod? Because you are complaining always that Kyagulanyi Sentamu and Nup must join Ipod because it's the forum for you as opposition so-called politicians. You will have guts and the platform to talk to Museveni straight in the face that this and this must stop. Now you are there. Why don't you talk to your general? Why don't you talk to your friend? Why don't you talk to your chairman to stop the heck what they are doing? Why can't you say stop the violence? You are in Ipod. You have the opportunity. For us, we are not there. Why are you blaming the media for not doing their job, for their work? And you, who sits with the gentleman in one room, even you are his minister, you sit in cabinet is cabinet meeting. Nera notasobola kumugamba nti ebintu ebigenda maaso bituswaza kati oli mu kweyambula obuvunanyizibwa bwo blame yo gwe gimufata kwe blaminga nti olemereddwa kati obyetikula obiteeka ku balala ng'ate gwe na minisita w'amateeka lwaki temutaputa amateeka ebiriwo ne mutubuulira mu mateeka bitegeeza kibikkirizibwa.
We still need the media.
We don't need Mao.
At least as far as DP is concerned, we will never stop complaining about being mistreated by the Ugandan media. And particularly I, as Norbert Mao, I think you have singled me out for mistreatment. There is no day anything concerning Mao is casted very negatively. Did you see a ballot paper and a ballot box in the Nup Delegates Conference? Nothing. You are not even allowed inside there. Did you see a ballot box in the other thing of Sijui PFF or PPF, I don't know. There was no ballot box. They just came and read a list. Then they said the delegates have approved. The other one of DF, there was no ballot box. But you just continue massaging them with oil. That now those are shining examples of internal democracy. Sijui Vegetable Party, Peasants Party, Lusania Party. That is where you spend all your time. We who went through intense processes, according to our party constitution, with a highly competitive process where you were not even sure who was going to win, you never credit us.
Why you disqualified this gentleman? MP. Walo MP aliyesimbyo bawe bukoto. Erinnya lye nga ligenze. Engineer Sebamala. Why you disqualified Sebamala? If it was a fair trial, if it was a fair competition, why you disqualified Sebamala? Why? If it was a fair competition, you would have left Sebamala because the member of the Democratic Party, you would have left him and you compete with him, but you disqualified Sebamala. So what are you saying?
DP is the firstborn among Uganda's political parties, whether you like it or not. And we will continue to be an example of internal democracy in this country. That's our role. But you, the media, it seems you want something else, and you will get it anyway. And I pray to God, I'm just repeating it, God should really look at the Ugandan media and give them the appropriate reward that they deserve. For failing to shine a light where they should be shining a light. When you are covering our elections in Barara, you only show the part where they are moving ballot boxes to the room. You don't show the other candidates peacefully observing the counting of the ballots. In order to prove that ballot boxes were moved and tampered with. Why are you doing that? Well, what's really is your motive? Anyway, God is watching you. So I am convinced that it is our duty as DP to always warn the nation. We warned the kingdom of Buganda.
About what?
In 1960s and 1966 followed. We warned the UPC in 1980. That is what led to the Luwero Bush War. Now we are warning NRM that please, you no longer have moral authority to lecture anybody about internal democracy. It was purely a disgrace. They are spitting fire. So I am now announcing that DP is now going to become like Noah's Ark. We are now setting up a political orphanage like we have always had anyway. Because DP has always been a political orphanage. When Besigye became an orphan, we invited him. And we wiped away his tears in the year 2000 and stood with him. When Amama Mbabazi had real problems, he also came to our orphanage. So now we are opening the orphanage to all the NRM candidates who have been cheated and abused. And many are coming to, now it will not be Noah's Ark, but Mao's Ark. So we are now opening the doors of Mao's Ark for all those who have been abused and cheated. After all, the purpose of politics is to solve the problems of society. Many of our members who thought our process was illegitimate are now having second thoughts. I keep seeing on social media some of our members continuing to complain, but I think either they have another motive. I saw some of them complain to Electoral Commission, but the party is here. They should be complaining here. This is where the party is. This is the address for complaints. You know, there was once a man who lost his ring while walking at night. So they found him looking for it under a street light. When they asked him, "What are you doing?" he said, "I'm looking for my lost ring." And they asked him, "Where did you lose it?" And he answered that, "I think I lost it the other side where I was walking." Then they asked him, "Then why are you looking for it under the street lamp?" He said, "Because here there is a light." He said, "But you lost it somewhere else. Why are you looking for it where there is light?" So we would wish to humbly advise our members that this is the address. This is where disputes can be resolved. But they also have very poor legal advisors. If you want Electoral Commission to help you, you don't first go to court. The moment you go to court, you have actually stopped the other process. Because court should be after the other one has been resolved. If you have been denied justice, then you go to court. But you cannot go to court, then you go to the Electoral Commission. I wanted to be polite today, but let me just say it is idiotic and plainly stupid, really. And that's why I've been saying I wish there was a tax on stupidity. So I see them there harassing the poor people at Electoral Commission. It is like if I go to the High Court, then again I'm harassing the LC1 to solve my problem. What do you expect the LC1 to do? You're already in the High Court. You cannot deal with it. Or you if it is a school, you have already complained to the school administration, but at the same time you are harassing the prefects to solve your problem. But anyway, we are not paid for advising people who are disturbing us. So we don't have time for that. DP members, to take note of the fact that the question of the internal leadership of the party is already settled for the next 5 years. And nobody should think that there is going to be any other settlement again. The leaders of DP nationally are known, and they are on the records with the Electoral Commission. What is not settled is the leaders of Uganda from 2026 to 2031. That's what we are working on. So we need to invite all our DP members so that we move together with them. The team that is handling internal election matters will announce how many candidates so far we have. But also, as I always say, we are going to keep many of our cards facing down because we are used to surprising people. When we went to Mbarara, I think most of you thought we were not in charge because you were giving undue coverage to the noisy makers. You really followed them as they shouted and shouted. Then all of a sudden, there was no big bang. It was just a whimper. We want to assure our candidates of the following program. Number one is regional trainings for our candidates for office. We are here, we are veterans of politics. Unfortunately, some of you have forgotten our journeys. When I listen to some of the people who are attempting to take on us, you know, it is like taking on Muhammad Ali. Even though Muhammad Ali may have fought long ago, but he still has his medals. You don't just take on him lightly. So the Baganda have a saying that Kaliba Kasajja Kulisengo. So you kept on encouraging people. You are a man, you go, you can kill that leopard, you go for it. So you are also contributing to the suffering of innocent people by pumping up people who you know are not capable. Now you pump them up, you give them a lot of airtime in your newspapers and in your TV to the extent that their heads swell, then they think they are really powerful. As we were heading to Mbarara, we were seeing people in the press swelling. Have you seen this? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Because you are saying, it is called Okuwaga. You are doing Okuwaga. But you cannot Okuwaga somebody who you know does not have capacity. It is like taking my village team and you say, you are capable of beating Liverpool. They'll score 1 goal per minute. They'll score 90 goals against my village team. However much we blow vuvuzelas, those will not lead to goals. You must train, you must have good players, you must have capacity. That's the way it is. So, we call upon these candidates of ours. You are capable of winning. And the formula for winning is based on 4 pillars. Don't waste time talking about things you don't know about. Talk about yourself because you know yourself best. Why don't you talk about yourself? Because you have lived with yourself from the moment you became conscious. So you are an expert on yourself. Why do you go to the media pretending to talk about DP which you don't know even? And instead of asking those who know, you don't want to even ask them. So tell your story of your journey. Number 2, build a campaign structure. And what is a campaign structure? You must first and foremost have a credible person to lead your campaign. And a credible leader of a campaign is a person who represents you as a candidate. And I'm telling you this from my own experience. Appoint somebody to manage your finances. Appoint somebody to manage your media relations. Appoint somebody to coordinate the youth. Appoint somebody to coordinate the women. Have somebody to coordinate volunteers. Nobody has enough money to pay for all the people who campaign. There's nobody rich enough for that. Campaigns are won by volunteers. And then go and talk to the voters one-to-one. I have seen people who have changed their votes simply by saying, Yansaba Kalulu. And that's enough. But you spend all your time in the newsrooms insulting each other. Instead of waking up in the morning and you divide your constituency into streets. For instance, if you are campaigning here You start moving from door to door, and you meet the people and you talk to them. Ask credible people to invite their neighbors, and you talk to them. That's what a campaign is. Then number 3, have a clear message. People are not going to elect you because you are the expert at abusing your opponents. People are going to elect you because you understand their problems. This morning, I was talking to a candidate and I asked him, what is the biggest problem in your constituency? Poor leadership. Really? I thought leadership is a solution to the problem. So, it is like saying the biggest problem in a hospital is the lack of drugs. Actually, the biggest problem in a hospital is sick people. And you must be able to say, malaria is the biggest problem that we face here. Maybe we have got cholera is a big problem here. Maybe we have problem of malnutrition. So, you must have a clear message. Now, you cannot compete with the regime change fundamentalists, because there are those who don't need to talk much. They just go and say, we are the ones going to kick out President Museveni and the NRM. Of course, some voters are foolish enough to believe that. But that's not sustainable. So, for us, we are not going to compete in that field. Our competition is about serving the people, offering services. But also, we are the originators of the most important policy agenda right now, namely the agenda of national reconciliation, the agenda of a national dialogue, the agenda of reforming our constitution, and the agenda of a peaceful transition. We are the authors of that. Everybody is talking about that now. Even the president is talking about it. So I do not know why our candidates find it so difficult to talk about what we stand for. Instead, they want to talk like the other people. In any case, you can make your argument very, very well. So, to our candidates, I want God to give you the courage to believe in your message. If I go to a place where a witch doctor has made an eloquent speech about that if you smoke a pipe, your opponent will die. Surely, there's no relationship between me smoking a pipe and my opponent dying. That I smoke a pipe and say, my opponent will die tomorrow, my opponent will... There's no way that I will smoke a pipe and then somebody elsewhere is going to die tomorrow. It doesn't exist. So you must stand up and say, if you want to kill your opponent, you must know how people die. And you go ahead and do it in order to be sure. Otherwise, you'll end up like this Nanyonga who made people to eat soil in Rakai there because of Slim. When AIDS came, this lady told the people, if you eat soil from my banana plantation, the virus will die. So they died of hookworms. So you go to a studio and you really don't have your own message. You start getting sucked into a narrative which you don't even understand. So please go and talk about what we represent. And then don't be afraid because you think people will not accept your message. It is your duty to be persuasive. Those of you who were with me when we went to Mukono, you remember. When I arrived in Mukono, People were wondering what I was going to say or whether I would even be welcomed. But I told them that really this is not about me. In case you think this is about me, this is not about me. Me, I'm a professional, I'm a lawyer. And that doesn't depend on whether you vote for me or not. I already achieved that. My being a lawyer does not, and I don't think I'm a fool. What is inside my brain also doesn't depend on your vote. And however much you vote for an idiot, they will still remain an idiot for 5 years. The votes will change nothing. I was enrolled as an advocate on the 3rd of March, 1994. That is over 31 years as an advocate. That one you cannot change it. I have my record of achievement, which I have. That one, people must know that it's not about you. It is about them, the voters. Give them a new consciousness. Let them look at their condition, the condition in which they live. What are you doing in Kampala? Go where your voters are. Stop hanging around Balintuma Road. Your voters are not here. I'm not your voter. These people here are not your voters. Go away to the constituency. You are not going to win by coming to Kampala. You'll be like that man who was looking for his ring in the wrong place. Go away and talk to the real people. And don't worry about whether you are going to win all those. Wake up every day and do what you need to do every day consistently. It's like passing exams. If I go and read every day, why should I worry about failing? Because passing is a consequence of what I do. It is like farming. If I till my land, I put fertilizer, I plant good seeds, I weed it, I will have a harvest. But you cannot start looking at a bush you have not cleared and you start worrying whether the crops will yield. That is something you have to change. So go out and stand your ground and give the DP message. And don't mind about what others are saying, because that is for drama. They want to dramatize. When we were going to Mbarara, you heard people were saying the party was sold. But why did they want to lead a party which was sold? They came in numbers. We had close to 2,000 people. And it was the only serious delegates conference which the media has ignored, unfortunately. And then lastly, let me tell you, you will never find somebody who will give you all the money you need. That person doesn't exist. And your party will definitely stand with you. But it's crazy that this is so simple. The only way to get money is to ask for it. So now, some of you are married. So today, go and ask your wife, I want a contribution toward my campaign. That's the first test, whether your wife believes in you. Let that be the first test. Because if your wife does not want to invest in your campaign, now how do you ask? A poster, an A2 poster on Nassau Street costs 350 shillings. So you tell your wife, you say, by the way, why don't you give me 35,000 shillings for 100 posters as a test? Then you call your brothers and sisters. By the way, brothers and sisters, every family now has a WhatsApp group. So go to your family WhatsApp group and say, everybody give me 35,000 shillings. Those are 100 posters. That's how you fundraise. Then next, you look for your old students, OGs, OBs. Say, by the way, I'm in the race now Today I was at DP. You dropped this photo here of this press conference. The thing is serious. The way you say here in Kampala, Chikuteyo, whether you have 3 people, you say Chikuteyo, I have a crowd. So you then tell everybody, if you give me 350,000 shillings, those are 1,000 posters. If you give me 35,000, those are 100 posters. That's how you fundraise. Then you draw a list of those you know, and you start calling. Now the bad news is 80% of those you call will not give you money. I'm telling you from experience, because my job is fundraising. That's my main job. So in politics, you must have enough people to believe in you to support you. Don't go and sell your father's land. Don't sell your children's house. Don't mortgage where you are staying. But find people who can believe in you. And they'll believe in you based on the other things I've talked about. And then they will invest in you. They'll give you money. So those are the 4 pillars. In fact, it's the master key of winning. So start by knowing who you are. So if I ask each of you, talk about yourself now, assuming these are voters, will they be impressed about what you think is important? Say, talk about yourself. Let me give you a hint. The way to talk about yourself is talking about your past accomplishments. And the things I'm saying also applies to those of you who are here in the media. Perhaps some of you want to start your own media house. Some of you want to do master's degree. You want to go for PhD. It also applies to you. Until you remember what you have achieved in the past, you cannot tackle the challenges that are in front. And that's why David went to the battlefield and he had to remind himself how he killed a lion to protect his father's flock. So remind yourself of your past achievements. Now, that is the answer to your anxiety. Why is DP still insisting that it can lead Uganda? Because we have done it before. DP has led Uganda before. But I'm sure I can even bet on my grandmother's grave that none of you tell your voters that DP was ever in government. And it is DP which laid the foundation of this economy which they are talking about, of the coffee and the cotton and the tobacco, allowing farmers to get value. You think it is abusing President Museveni's mother which will get you elected? No. Ultimately, everybody wants to feel something in their pocket. And that's what DP is known for. And the other day when I spoke publicly and I said, it is DP that laid the foundation for the economic policy which allowed Uganda to have double-digit growth. I even named the DP leaders who designed the economic policies. The Ponciano Mulemas, Kafumbe Mukasa, Professor Yoweri Chesimira, Robert Kitariko. Those are the people. And when DP left the NRM government in 1996, the economic growth declined. Now those are facts. So why are you not talking about those things? First, you don't know yourselves. You even don't know your party. So then how can you represent your party if you don't know it? So I have given you a hint about what will be the content of our candidates' training. I want to thank Mr. Kennedy Mutenyo, our Election Management Committee Chairman, for really educating Ugandans. That man his father was a victim of the brutality of this country. His father was a key member around Benedicto Kiwanuka, and he paid with his life. So, of late, he has been going around telling people things about DP, and everybody is keeping quiet and wondering, is this DP? Because we have allowed you night dancers in the media space to tell lies about our party. And meanwhile, all of you here are quiet. You are not even challenging anybody. They keep telling lies about DP. So Kennedy Mutenyo has been going to the radio station and saying, by the way, this is who we are. And that is how you are going to recover. That's why we are here. And that's why we will never cross to any other party. So if you know DP, you know that even those who have left DP keep talking about DP. President Museveni left DP long ago, but it hasn't gotten out of his brain. To the extent that he still imagines that he is in charge of DP.
Yes, it's true. He's in charge, still in charge of DP. Kubanga na oli mu NRM lwalero, Jojaka Sente Jojaka Ogo oli minister, wansi wa Museveni. Era yafuga DP.
He keeps saying it all the time. We no longer even respond to him. It is not useful anymore. So, remember those 4 things. Tell your story. Tell the story of your party. Build a strong campaign structure of credible people. Make sure that you have a message which is clear and simple. And then ask for money. That's how you win an election. Okay, it sounds simple, but it's not easy. Because it requires that you wake up and do something. I did it. And you are going to meet people who are going to lecture you. They'll look at you, Joe Wakabi, and say, you are young. Why are you going in this thing? You first wait, let Uganda settle down. Actually, this is the best time to jump. In a few years' time, there will be a renewal in this country. So I really, really congratulate you on making the decision to be part of it. I've already told you. Because for us, we made our decision. I think of my generation, I only have, no, none of this is my generation. Herbert is the only one of my generation. So, we made a conscious decision and we chose a leader. And I was that leader. We kept on being snubbed. You attack, you are beaten and you retreat. You reorganize. You attack again, you are beaten. And then you come back. And that's how we gained the trust of the elders and leaders in the party. But still, it was a fight. That's why they call it a campaign. A campaign is always a term which is used in the military. Even a war is called a campaign. I never studied the history you people studied, but I hear about the Moscow campaign. Now, a campaign may not go according to plan. Even for Napoleon, it was a disaster. But he had planned it very well. So prepare for everything. He planned his campaign, he went there, and he collided with a very, very bitter winter. In fact, most of them died while retreating. We want the country to know that we are going to use what is called targeting. So our campaign is not going to be about quantity of candidates. Our campaign is going to be about quality of candidates. Generally, voters are not happy with the way things are going on in the country. So our members of parliament must be the kind of leaders who are going to represent the real interests of the citizens. I was speaking to a candidate who is going to contest in Kagoma, in Jinja. Now, the incumbent in Kagoma was even beaten in the primaries. So that's a constituency we can actually take. Very soon we are going to come here with the incumbent members of parliament who are going to announce that they are now coming to contest on DP ticket. I know some of you have been excited about the movements, but you are going to see more movements now towards. There's even a candidate who is coming to be part of DP. Many actually from Western Uganda. Because DP is the campus of Ugandan politics. Forget about these other parties that you people are talking about. Those ones are like temporary structures. Are they called Ebifulukwa? Is it the what? Is there a real Muganda here? Is it called a Chifulukwa? Eh? Ebifulukwa. Temporary structures, like those people built during last funeral rites. Is that what they are? What is a Chifulukwa? That is not a Chifulukwa. We are talking about, we need to get a better word. We have a better word in Acholi, but you people will not understand it. Bololiel. It's called Bololiel. It is a temporary structure which is built during like last funeral rites. So that is what these other parties are. The ones that are emerging now, like mushrooms. Those are temporary structures. They are like these Mabati houses of road contractors. You see them. They have emerged along the highways. Because the does not share the credit for guarding democracy with many people. Let us be few. And really, in future, our history will be written differently. Because some of you have been getting discouraged by the departures of some of our members. We wish them well. DP is not a prison. You are free to go. Because we have done our best to keep people in the party. But sometimes temptation is very high. There was a time when DP remained with only 4 members of parliament. The rest had left. So some of you are worried. I want to promise you we are going to have many victories in 2026. And how we are going to do it is our own business. I am not going to tell you in a press conference that this is how we are going to get it. But we can assure you we are going to do it through targeting. I'm hoping that some of those who did very well in the last elections will be able to come back, and this time they will be able to win. I want to invite those who have questions in English. maybe the president, maybe the parliament, maybe the minister, so yeah, the army of the elections. What is here discussing these electoral reforms? At least being seen, such that we are hopeful that we are going to have will. I have said before that as a DP, we have taken our proposals on changing the electoral system up to the Ipod summit. We don't agree with the way we are electing leaders now. In fact, our electoral reforms are not even in the Supreme Court proposal. Those Supreme Court proposals are cosmetic. For us, we are proposing fundamental reforms which will allow citizens to have a very short election period. Why should we spend 4 months in elections? What we are proposing is proportional representation. The president has said it needs to be studied, but we will not give up. We will keep on campaigning for it. We are even proposing to cut the size of parliament so that an MP represents a minimum of 150,000 people. A minimum. Now you find Ik constituency, I don't know, there may be 3,000 people. Then Nakawa is probably over 500,000 people, if not more. That disparity has got to be dealt with. We are proposing even an upper house, a second upper house. I cannot speak for the reforms that came from Supreme Court so much, because I think they are really not going to change. But more importantly, we need to change the political culture in this country. And you can only change political culture by what leaders say. In DP, we have a culture of democracy. That's why DP is the only party where you can have leaders being criticized openly, even inside meetings. Have you seen it in any other political party? In the other political parties, we have ayatollahs. In DP, we don't have an ayatollah. I'm not an ayatollah. That's why you can see people can call a press conference for purposes of insulting the party president. Why do we allow that? We don't allow that because we are weak. We allow that because we can answer it democratically. If somebody brings an argument and says, Mao, you are the worst leader we have had since the earth was created, I have my mouth, I can respond. Why do I have to beat you up? I don't need to beat you up. That kind of democracy, so we need to change political culture. And now you people, you had your elections, it was so chaotic, Uganda Journalists Association. Was it a lack of reforms? You have a wonderful constitution, I've read it. The constitution of Uja. So why were you fighting in your elections? Because of poor culture of democracy. It is as simple as that. Until people can accept that, you know what, we can lose. I don't know whether some of you are members of Rotary clubs. Ask, why does President Museveni tolerate what is going on in the NRM? Why does Mao tolerate? At least in our case, it has not gone to the level of suppressing people. We have not suppressed people. In that place, you saw candidates who wanted to contest for national chairman of the party. What happened to them? You have not even given airtime to them to talk. Why? You, NTV and NBS, why are you not calling those presidential candidates to come and talk? So you are contributing to this culture of autocracy. You are major contributors. It doesn't mean that you will achieve your goal, but you must take a stand. By the way, sometime in life, you just need to take a stand. You may actually be impotent, incapable of achieving anything. But you have to take a stand and say, this is where I stand, and this is what I believe. And that is it. I hope that you stop having too much expectation of constitutions or good laws without a culture of the rule of law. Because what's the point of having laws if there's no culture of the rule of law? Some of you can't even access parliament. Isn't that supposed to be the people's house? So what is the problem? Today I was quarreling with some police officers in some government office. Their job is to ensure security. But now they want to interview you. What are you going to do? What paper is in that envelope? That's none of your business. When you go to the US Congress, they just check you to ensure that you are not carrying a bomb. Then you go and sort yourself out with the people who work in the building. Now you turn government offices into a barracks. That's why right now the Ministry of Justice is the most open ministry. You try it, you come there. No one will even ask you what you have come to do. They will check you, they will ask you who you want to see, and they will advise you. So it is a cultural thing. We have to see that we change the culture. So I disagree with you that the problem is electoral reforms. The problem is culture, the political culture. Until we change that political culture, and we have, for us in DP, we have maintained the culture of freedom inside our party. People can come and even try to throw chairs. Of course we can intervene. Now you said that police officers were carrying ballot boxes. Who did you want to carry the ballot boxes? Who did you want? They were ordered by the chairman of the Election Management Committee and said, security, help us move the ballot boxes. That was their job. They were on duty. But the people who were the candidates followed the ballot boxes. The decision was made because some people wanted to come and grab the ballot boxes. And you had even seen before we started voting that some people had come and kicked the ballot boxes. Religious leaders include political parties. For me now, the most important dialogue is the one of political parties. You now know that Ipod has got a big boost because Parliament has finally recognized Ipod. And now, in order to be fair, we decided that we should allow those who want to be part of Ipod to join. Because Ipod is not just about money. Ipod is actually about changing that culture. And that's why we have UN. You see, in the UN, Ukraine sits with Russia in the same room, which is a good thing. Why wouldn't Ukraine sit with Russia? Palestine sits in the same room with Israel in the UN. So, Ipod is our kind of United Nations, where those who want to remove the dictator will sit with the dictator and say, we are removing you, whether you like it or not. Because that's the best forum to assure the dictator that, by the way, in January, we are getting you out. There's nothing wrong with that. We must develop that culture. The way you could see Nancy Pelosi going to the White House and assuring Donald Trump that we cannot accept this. Now, that is what the political culture is all about.
Okay.